Good evening, Wendy. How you doing, Wendy? I'm sure there's more here. I think I see 3 in the background. Yeah, I'm fine. Hope you're well. A little bit early. I just thought I would kick the ball. I am taking it. The sound and everything is fine tonight. You can hear me well. There's 4 people in the chat. Or 4 people watching anyway. Not there's only 1 of you in the chat, but 4 watching, which is all good. I'm sure everyone will turn up in a minute. Hey, Barcom, it's lovely here. It's a lovely night. Sorry for my very bad accent there. Ben, good evening to you. 6 watching. I seem to have some sort of an orange bar across my image now. Good. The little picture of me in the corner, on the actual feed stream, it looks like beheaded by some orange bar. Is that in what you're seeing? I can't see it. I've got my iPad on and I can't see it there, so I'm guessing that it doesn't actually exist. It's just on my feed, I think, because I'm looking at what you're seeing and I can't see anything wrong. So we'll go with that. All right, so hopefully we got the position of everything about right tonight. We shall see. Time will tell. John, good evening to you. Derek, good evening to you too. What creepy voice? Who's got I haven't got a creepy voice, have I? Really? No orange bar, good. That's fine. Paul App's bar. What point? You're trying to upset me. You're just trying to get me wound up before I even get started. Okay. All right. I don't know what's causing that. I can't see it on mine. Let's just see if I can pull it out the way. I can't see it. Oh well, that's fine. As long as I can't see it. Doesn't matter if you can't see it or can see it. Hi Jeff, good evening. That's cool. We are 6 people in. I think 6 it says on my thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe 6. Yes. 7. Oh, that's good. Well, we'll give it a few more minutes because it's only just the hour, so we'll hang fire just a little bit and see who turns up before we get cracking. Yeah. So a cloud. Now the reason is I love painting clouds. Sorry, I do. But I've been doing an awful lot. Good evening, James. Hi to you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I don't paint too many white ones. Tend to be a lot of sunrises and sunsets of late. So I thought I did one on my Instagram feed the other day, which Wendy's seen. I filmed that for my Patreon. Maybe a month down the road, we will see that come out in a severely edited form in YouTube, but for the moment it will be edited out for my Patreon. When you said ear bar gum, it's lovely here. It's a lovely bar. Yeah, all right, mate. It's very bad, and I'm sure a Yorkshireman would be like sending a task force down to put me right. But there you go. I am and did what I did, said what I did. Can't help that. Right, okay, so maybe we ought to get this little picture on the way. But yeah, what I was saying was that I actually like doing clouds, and I think the tough thing about doing a white puffy cloud is making that white puffy cloud stand out. Now, there's in this picture, there is the white puffy cloud. There's also a lot of secondary cloud that is in the air. I'm not actually going to propose to put that in. I don't think that it actually brings anything to it. It looks like a very old vapor trail, but it's not, but it just looks that way. Bramley, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us. And thanks for your nice comment on the other one. That's really neat. Thank you. But yeah, so what I was saying was that I'm going to change it all a little bit. This is probably more as a guide than the actuality of the scene. I don't see the purpose in just copying it straight as. I want to make it a bit more engaging and a bit more dramatic than the photograph suggests it to be. Now the channel, obviously they do sweep down through the channel, and I've got some humongously awesome photographs, but some of them are just so awesome that they can't actually be painted in any good sense of the word. It is a subscription bar telling me that I'm subscribed. Oh, okay, that's cool. And that's because I can't see one on mine then, because I'm not subscribed to myself. I refuse to do that. Even when I get close to something, because I've got the two channels, I could bounce one off the other. And when I get close to a threshold, I could easily just pop in and do a subscribe on the other one just to kick it over. I refuse to do that. Anyway, all right, so let's have a look at this. So skies. Now I had somebody find me off of the Instagram today, another artist who is starting out as well, not starting out, he's just, but he wanted to know from me what color blues to use in the sky. Now he was actually using King's Blue Light and King's Blue Dark. Now King's Blue is a cobalt derivative. Nothing wrong with them at all. I've used them, and I've used them in skies, but I prefer these days not to have to carry tons of blue color around with me, but to suggest the sky with lesser colors, and that predominantly I use cobalt blue and mix that with phthalocyanine blue, or the closest color we've got to cyan. So yeah, it's like a process blue. All right, so for the first part then, it's the intensity up here. I better tell you about the board. It's a standard MDF board. This is Picture Framer's MDF board, which is 2.4 millimeters thick. If you do ever get some of this to paint on yourselves, do not be tempted into buying the slightly thicker 3 millimeter. Half the time there's an issue with it gets a little bit fluffy on one of the sides. You've got to choose the right one to paint on. With this, it's strongly tempered both sides, so it really doesn't matter which side you prime up. But so 2.4 is the best. Plus, of course, you don't use as much shelf space to stack these up on. Okay, now I'm really not going to be doing too much of drawing. I don't see the need of doing that. If you want to put anything in at all, just put a very, very faint mark for the sand, just to give you some idea where you're going through, and maybe a little higher for the sea above. And you're not going to see too much, excuse the play on word, but that's just giving me a little indication. So my horizon is going to be about there. Everything else is sky, and the main thrust of this whole picture. Now I am going to be using a lot of this fella. This is phthalocyanine blue. The nice thing about phthalocyanine blue is that I'm glad you're doing clouds. Can you explain the color mixes to help me? Yeah, I'm on that, Ben. I'm there. I'm your man. Right, so phthalocyanine blue is a transparent blue, and as I said just now, it's very, very close in terms of the color cyan. and actually it was Wendy that told me that a few weeks ago, because I went out and I looked for a Scion to try out and use, and I wasn't sure that this blue wasn't the same under a different hat, but she actually confirmed it for me. So so there we go. We've got a lovely colour of cyan with white. Now if you want that cyan to be even more intense, don't use titanium white, use zinc white. It will have that effect. I can maybe hopefully show you if I just pick out another piece here, and now I put in a tap of this white. You'll see that the blue is even richer in terms of the white. If I put a bit more in, you'll see it would take an awful lot of it to turn it to the same color as this. And that's the difference between the two whites. The white will lighten, but it will submit to the power of the color. And if you use zinc white with some of the transparent whites, oh yes I have, oops. I was sitting here wondering what I should be doing. Oh dear. Does anyone mind if I quickly talk while I do that? I completely forgot, Wendy. Thank you so much. All right, let me just quickly talk to you about the idea of using transparent colors with zinc white. And transparent colors allow the light to pass through, hence their transparency, of course. And with regards to that, if you add a non-powerful white into them, they have a very huge chance of glowing. They really do glow in that light. So forgive me for a second if I go a little quiet, and I may have to just give this a miss, really. I should have been a little bit more on the ball. I will just very quickly throw this one out there and do the edit on it later. But there we go, very quickly. Do apologize for this. Thank you, Wendy. I'm just going to put this into place very smartly, I hope. Come on. Where are you? Always something with my streams. Always something. I really thought I got this licked tonight. I've got it all sorted. I know what I'm doing. Well, I did. I had it all sorted until I just realized I've forgotten to do this job. So we will be there very quickly. I do apologize, and we will get back to it. And but one, I think it is number 148. I'm not too sure. Maybe sounds good. And yes, so where was I? I'm sorry, I am corn rolls. Corn rolls, not cyan rolls. Corn rolls. If anybody out there watching this does not know me and knows that I'm a bit of a klutz, I do apologize for this little diversion in proceedings, but yeah, and okay on there and there and share. Wendy, thank you so much for that reminder. Now I've got to get this back to where I was. Oh, what's happened? Oh, I've lost everything. Oh dear. What's gone on? I am still here. Come on, where is my YouTube? There we are. Okay. Right, sorry about that, and thanks for bearing with me. So we're back into the stream. Right, okay. So yes, I was speaking basically about transparent color and the use of zinc white. If you use, for instance, an Indian yellow or one of those transparent yellows, you can get a very powerful, almost electric, glowing color from it. And the same things for magenta and one or two others. Jeez. Yeah, I wasn't going to put that out, but it's the only one that was ready to go. So there you go. Anyway, so right, so you can see the difference here, and that's what I was trying to illustrate between using zinc white and the more powerful bleaching effect of titanium white. And the titanium white will literally pull out the color and make it disappear in front of your face, and you will lose the impact of the color if you keep adding titanium to it. So it depends really where you want to go with that. So I'm just gonna, I've got a little bit of titanium in here, I think, so that's going to really mess that mix up, but I'm not worried. I want to come in also with a bit of cobalt. Now I believe that certain times of the day cobalt is actually more in evidence than the cerulean. Cerulean or phthalo, very, very similar colors, except one is transparent, one is not. But one of those colors works at certain parts of the day. I think each end of the day maybe, but certainly with a lot more cobalt into the mix, it works during the middle of the day. And to that effect, I actually will add, to a little degree, a bit of magenta to that mix, making that quite purpley up the top. And I just get that lovely deeper looking blue. Now I could have added some ultramarine, but I wanted to shift it away from all the blues, and I just wanted this top section to have a big degree of violet in the top. The ground color on this board is a just a warm fawny color. It's had a couple of coats of normal gesso on it, and then the last coat has color added to that. So I vary the color from one painting to another sometimes. I pick up a board that I think will work with that particular image that I'm going to paint, all the reasons, and yeah, that's it really. And to that end, so it's just, I want to make that too purple, but I just want the strength in there. Now the idea is that when you're painting white clouds, you need them to stand out. And all my students who watch know, have I missed anybody by the way? We only have 12 watching. What's going on? People are not interested in white clouds. So as my students all well know, that if you want something to look or appear brighter or lighter, then you really need to make sure that everything that surrounds it is somewhat darker. Now I'm going to change some of the blues as these come down, like so, but I want to take another clean brush, clean mix, and I want to come in with a quite powerful white at the moment, just to literally suggest where I want the top of my cloud to start. Something like that. Now it's going to get completely messed up, and I'm not overly worried. I'm going to actually put a little bit of orangey, sort of peachy color, red, yellows into there, and let that sort of come this way. Maybe a bit more yellow into that, and just see, warm that up through there, give it a little bit of yellow flush as it were, but not too much. I don't want it to become a yellow cloud. I just want it to have the influence of yellow within it. And the more you put this onto the blue or any other color that is darker than the color you're using, then of course it will just want to mix with it. So you do have to be very, very careful. I'm just literally establishing some of the shapes in my cloud moving forward. Now I did say also that this cloud would vary from the one that you see in the photo just a little bit. I don't see the point in making it a mundane small cloud. Let's get it going. Could I explain the probable outside drawing the weather? 4 or 5 other people. I wouldn't worry about viewers. So what have I said? John, many people are probably outside and drawing the weather. Ah yes, John, of course, I keep forgetting that. Okay, I think, yeah, going back on your point, Wendy, that the different blues I feel that work are using the two that I've got, which are the phthalo blue and the cobalt blue, work better for most of the days, just swapping around different ones beginning and end of the day, as it were. With regards to using other blues, well, I've come away from using everything else other than pretty much these two for all days, any part of the days. This one does have a considerable influence in the sky of cobalt, so I'm going to keep on with that predominantly in this picture and let it give way to the violets up the top here, and just sort of let that settle down like so. Now there are lots of smaller divots of white cloud in here, so I'm going to put those in. Nice part about this brush is it will play around with the shapes and give you all sorts of little edges and shapes and forms, and I'm just going to create some of those now, just very, very loosely. There's quite a lot down in here all the way through, and a great big chunk of light down through here like so. So now we really have, I'm not sure about this blue, I put it in, I'm thinking that I might just lose it a little bit, make some of it peek through, but the rest of it probably will go. Something like that. Just see what it looks like. It's right slap in the middle of the cloud, and I'm not overly keen on that, to be honest with you. What I will do is just finish off with some of these blues, then I might be able to clear the palette out a little bit. Getting them a little lighter, maybe a little bit more phthalo blue as this comes down the sky and touches one or two bits in here and around in here. It's going to pick up the white too, so it will also change its properties. And like that. Okay. Just smoothing the blue out a little bit in terms of brush marks. I can always mix that up again later. I'm going to come in here now with a bit more white into that blue mix here, and just take some of that way down light down through here. Not a lot, just going to mix it up a little bit like that. And you don't see too much in there, so I'm going to leave that because we've got a big dirty grey part. So I'm going to put in some red into our violety blue mix over there just now, and then I'm going to add in a little bit of the red from the Indian red, touch of brown umber into there, and we're making a really horrible mess. And I'm going to use some ultramarine blue to bring that back from the reds like so. Just have a look at that grey and see how that looks. I don't think that's that bad at all. Now it's not as dark as it could be, and it's not as light as it may go, but it's certainly the start of doing a lovely form of underpinning this cloud, and the weight of it comes all the way down through here, and then there's another section all the way along here which gets a little bit lighter on the horizon, but give yourself a horizon line that is very, very straight if you can. Hi Luke, nice to see you. Jim, nice to see you. Not to worry that you're late. Sue, good evening. We're building up our numbers. That's nice to see. I hope all of you are well. Just going to come in with a slightly darker line down through this bank of cloud that's on the horizon line. It sort of disappears into itself there, but I'm just going to put a little mark or two in here like so, and just take that off in a line, and it pretty much joins up in there. So I'm just going to loosely scratch these two areas together. I will come in with other color, that's why I'm only loosely scratching them together, and I'm going to make that come all the way through, and there's a couple of sort of hefty marks up into there, one or two smaller taps. Then we've got quite a bit of dark on this side of the cloud here, which I want to put in. And I'm using the dagger brushes again. I have become quite a convert over the time, and they work very, very nicely. Now, talking of things altering, I'm not quite sure yet, depends on the government, but there is the potential that certainly distancing area between people may well be coming down to a meter or so over the next couple of 3 weeks. If that happens, if that does go on like that, then there is a very small chance that for my evening class on a Wednesday evening may well be resurrected more quickly than maybe I thought it might, and that would be great if that happens. I say just the evening one purely and simply because the majority of my evening students are under the 70 years of age, and therefore they're not as at risk maybe as somebody who is over 70, or indeed with underlying factors. So it might be a case that we can bring that class back online. I will have to sort of see exactly what happens, and I will keep everybody posted, of course. As for my other classes, I sort of can maybe consider bringing one or two back on a reduced amount of people and spacing tables out, but I still have to work out how I'm going to physically assist people so that I can help them with their painting at the end of the day. It just seems ludicrous otherwise. I just dipped my brush into some yellow, and I'm going to put some of that into this grey just on one side. I still want to keep some of this other grey going, but I just wanted to give myself a little bit of light coming through here, and that actually could do with a little bit more yellow, but I'm using the CAD Deep, so I'm going to use that there, and I'm going to use quite a bit of white. So I want a dirty yellowish off colour, something pretty much like that, I hope. And it's just to suggest that there is a warmer glow to some of these reflections than as it dissipates and goes off into the side. Actually, it could be a little darker, so let's bring some of that back out, bring that into that mix there. And I keep looking at the wrong picture. I've got 4 reference pictures. Well, I've got 2 of my painting, and I've got 2 actual references in my screen. I look up and I keep looking at the wrong one. So that's why there might be a little bit of sort of dithering going on with me. I do apologize, but you get the idea, right? I'm just going to come in with 1 or 2 little soft taps of extra light into this cloud here, and you can see how the lights and the darks against the bluer sky start to form and give you the underpinning and all the lovely little facets that you find in the structure of a cloud. I'm just going to come back in there, put a bit more umber into that mix, just dirt it up, cool it off. That's actually quite a cool grey. So I'm going to put in a little darker grey through there, almost using the sides of the brush to make almost, it's like a patchwork I'm building, but it sort of probably best sets up what I'm trying to show. And so we've got a bit of a thunderhead going on now. This photograph is not a thunderhead, but it may well become one before we finished. It might get that mad, but there you go. But I love painting big clouds, so if it turns into a thunderstorm head thing, what's it? So be it. I'm not worried. Right, I'm going to bring a little bit of cool grey over that blue sky, like so. Softening as I go, pretty much. James, good evening to you. Philip, watching in Spain. Don't worry about email name. Okay. Is that not the Philip I used to teach? Is it? Maybe that's wrong, but that just rang a bell then. Let me know if that is. Right, and I'm just going to add some more yellows into some of this too, just trying to vary the colors and make the whole of this cloud a lot more interesting to look at as a cloud. I don't want any one area to be just a simple slab of something. So there we go, and I'm going to take that up through there and leave that a little bit like that. There's lots of little eddies and shapes, and as I say, I'm generally following this cloud, but I'm not following it absolutely. Okay, I just want to, anybody new watching this on the side, and I don't know how many we've got 16 watching at the moment. Anybody that hasn't sort of come in on this a little earlier will wonder why this looks nothing like the reference, and that is why. I'm just trying to make the whole piece of drama a little bit more impressive as a cloud in the area that I've got. Right, now there's quite a large sort of dark cast of lights under some of these, and I'm going to put those in as they run along there. We're really setting the scene. We're not doing a lot more, we're just blocking in large slabs of color that we're going to start to refine in the second part of painting this. Put a little bit more of the sky blue. Sounds a bit crazy, but sometimes by putting that little bit of color of blue in that you used up in here, it changes some of the light. You don't see it as intense a light blue, but that there I picked up is that blue there, but it doesn't look it in here. It is also a little bit mixed with what's in there, but it just works, and it just gives me that little bit of grey, as it were, in this base and the light, and we can play around with more of that as we go on and come to a conclusion with this one. I'm just going to come in with a bit more light through the center there and under here, but we've already done some of that. And then we come back to this darker matter again, which is in here. Let's just bring that up, put a bit more blue to that, and a little bit more umber in there too, not too much. More blue. Okay, and yeah. Okay, cool. That's great. Nice to talk to you again. Now, if I'm not mistaken, a long time ago, because you fashioned some little instrument for me to use with my brushes, I believe. And you did that almost, I think, as a parting gift before you went out to Spain. Tell me I'm wrong, and I'll apologise. But I don't think I am. I think I got that right. But if it is you, nice. Thank you very much for joining us, and it's good to hear from you. I hope you're well, and I hope your whole family in Spain is well. And if it's not you, I'm sure it must be. But yeah, cool. Right, I'm just going to play around with a few darks in here just to break up some of these shapes a little more before we move forward. And I'm going to have a glug. Time for a glug. How long are we in? Oh, we've only done half an hour. I better slow up, or else we won't make two. No, I'm teasing. Right. Okay, a little bit more yellowy, a little bit more orangey into there. Just change the emphasis of that grey a little bit too, and give it a different influence. Right, I'm just looking, keeping everything across. Yeah, I hope so, Wendy. I really do. As I say, I don't know about the daytime classes. It may be that some do, some don't want to. It may be that we pull some of the daytime classes together of those who want to do them and fashion a time between all, that those ones who want to get cracking can resume and mix with the other ones, and keeping the class levels a little bit low, and maybe bring everybody else back in as and when they feel safe and happy to do so. But I have got to start thinking about the gallery as such. It's sitting there as a big white elephant at the moment. is actually full up with some of my furniture I've got to sell on eBay. We've been using it. Yes, you did, and I still got it, and I still use it out in my main studio. Thanks very much, James. Philip, whatever. You'll have to explain that one to me on another occasion, mate. But it's good to have you connected again. Thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, you never know who's watching, do you? Quite interesting. But that's cool. I'm just going to lose some of these lights a little bit just to soften some of the marks. I can put the whites back in later. I'm not too worried. And I don't want them to look a little bit, they're looking a little bit regimented. So I want to change how we perceive these little areas of blue. And I think actually that too wants changing. There's a little bit of a deeper blue. I'm going to come back in with some cobalt. Just going to change the value of this blue in here. So more cobalt would do that job, I think. Just come in here and bring that lovely blue in here all the way along and out through there. And just touch it in one or two places in case I don't absolutely cover up the areas with other paint values, colors. So I'm just going to bring that in there, tap that in, and it starts going to a grey mush anyway somewhere in here. So we can just pull some of that through like that, and we have that look happening. Like that. Okay. And yeah, I think that works. Just going to clean the brush out. And yeah, bit of paper. Right, how are we doing? 17 watching. We need everybody to hurry up and finish their barbecues and get in here, get inside. Right, I'm going to actually now add a bit of a lesser white, but just a nice strong colour. And I'm going to pull some of that through here. And nothing wrong with a bit of finger painting, but they just come in underneath. There's a very strong grey of a cloud, but this cloud here is in front of these clouds here. These are a long way away. This one's coming up overhead, as it were. Not quite that much of a difference, but you get the understanding that the one cloud is banking in front of the next cloud, and so you get little fluctuations in shape and form and how you perceive them. It's building up the cloud and understanding the cloud structure that allows you to make I suppose a convincing cloud. Would that be right to say? But I think, you know, if you understand what I would say the anatomy of a cloud, then, you know, when it comes to rendering one, you have a much greater chance of making that possible and happen. So I'm just going to put in some of these shapes that are through here, like so, and we can build on those, play around with their shapes and their forms. We can build on those and turn them into those little clouds as they're moving down the channel. And yeah, I'll put one or two marks in here. I'm using my finger because I'm just really gently blending the two areas together. I will make certain that there is sufficient contrast between them going forward, but they are just suffice to do what I want them to do at the moment. And also the DNA that I leave will ensure the fact that you know who painted it. There's going to be enough fingerprints in the painting to prove the author of the work. Alright, I'm being silly, I know. Nice big white mark through here, which then loses its power as it goes off into some of this through here. So I can do that. And the nice thing about, again, these brushes, that you can put a big, broad, blousy mark in, and then equally you can just turn it on its tip and just make it just tickle out one or two other little areas that just work. You know, you can come in here For instance, you can put in, maybe we suggest that little light there, and you can just tease around with the end and make some of that come in and go and lose and all sorts. But yeah, it's good. So I'm going to put in another mark there. Now I did make the brush mark, run that through there like so, and just leave it there for a moment. And I want to come in with some stronger lights on here. Now the thing about white is to make it look stronger is to put a little dash of yellow. I said a little dash, not half a tube. I will have to start listening to myself one of these days. So I'm just going to bank that off and come out to where I need that value to be, somewhere around there. And that will give us the most brilliant looking white against that most vivid of blues. And that's really where the power of our wave lies. It is the power and excitement of that white against that blue that really makes this whole thing, a bit dirty in there, makes this whole thing radiate out. And that's why you must try and get that blue very, very deep up here. So I added that little bit of magenta to it to take it down and take it away, and just giving that lovely softness. Not worried about brush mark in this paint at all. I think brush marks more and more become very, very important to see. They become a little bit more expressive, and you know, they just make for a fresher, spontaneous painting. And I'm not going to say it, I said it last night, I know I'm going to say it again, loose. I don't like the word loose, but it seems to be a word that everybody tends to use to describe a painting that is somewhat softer and broader and fresher than another painting that is heavily worked and very contrived in style and form. And I heard somebody else say, and I agree with the statement, that it is all about the visual language of a painting. And from that, you know, we have the ability to make these big statements, but it's not a case of trying to do it fast or just using a 4-inch house brush to apply color. It's not about that. It's about the understanding of what you're trying to create in this work. I'm going to put a statement through there like so, and there's going to be quite a bit here, but there's quite a bit of dark I want to put under there. I'm going to come in with a bit of a dirty mark here into there, lose that a little bit. Then I want to come in with this mark through here. It will get dirty as it goes away, but I'm not too worried about that. I can soften its impact. The more you mix, the more you will lose the power in the pigment that you've just applied. So if you do want that white to remain brilliant, then you do need to put it on there and leave it on there as best you can. Yeah, less is more. You're right, Jeff. You know, and I gotta say, I put my hands up to it. You know, I am as guilty as the next person about getting hold of a small brush, and most of my friends and students alike will all know this. I've got to keep picking up loads of white paint. I've got to get rid of that. I think it's in the paper. And I'm guilty of it because I'll pick up a small brush and I'll end up painting the whole darn painting in it, and it just doesn't work. Yeah. And yeah, so anyway, it's, you know, it's a nice statement to make, and then there's nothing stopping you. Really careful is you can play around with some of these marks, maybe with a smaller brush if you want to. It doesn't really make a lot of odds. What we're trying to do is get the power of this thing going, and just going to put in a bit more white through here and here like so. And then there is a grey blue under there, which we'll attend to in a moment. I just want to put in these up here. Now you're going to see this paint going to suddenly turn to a lot of blue, but that is really great because that paint is actually taking on the degree of light that I want it to in relation to this. If this was as powerful as this, then of course my eyes would be dodging from one to the other. I'm trying to suggest here that there's a little bit of cloud that is broken away. I'm going to use a just a smaller. I was using it yesterday. Where's it gone? A small, soft. I think that's the one. A very small, soft filbert. And that white will, if I'm careful, I'm just going to rest on here and come in a little bit closer on it. But you can just soften off and tease into this blue. And you know, it's just, you all see it when you get that lovely, you know, it's a brilliant white cloud that's broken away, but it isn't as brilliant because it's thinner, and therefore it looks as though it's slightly on the blue tint. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm also in danger of making it look like a flipping octopus, but we're gonna try and change that. You get the idea though. I just want this thing as though it's sort of drifted away from other parts, or indeed it's a lot closer than this part and it's coming this way. It's probably the nice part of what was here before this one started brewing. So it's sort of trying to get out of the way itself, I think. But you get the idea, and there's just a little bit out here as well. Now the nice thing also about this is you actually create little leading lines, and I always use them wherever I can, either in the foreshore or on a of sand that's sort of leading to the water, or not leading to the water, wrong word, leading towards the focal point of your picture. You point people to that focal point, the sharpest part of your picture. And to that end, you can use the furrows in a field, you can use edges and borders, lines of trees, lines of all sorts. And in this case, the direction that these clouds are forming and going away from here and leading down. Lots of little bits and pieces. And so yeah, you get the idea of this. And because of the blue paint is still wet, then the white paint being put upon it, the more I touch it and dab it, the more it's going to pick up that blue, and it will give me that very subtle change that I'm seeking in terms of bits of wispy clouds that are breaking away or part of. And in here, I know I said I wasn't going to do it. I might just try and describe a little bit of this just through here, just as a little extra sense of cloud that's forming off of this. So we can put that in. We could even use them as, it's one way that you would do a vapor trail. In fact, I'm not unsure that this isn't a very old vapor trail that's running through here. We get so many over the channel all the time, and actually I don't mind putting it in and making it a vapor trail, whether it is or not, because they are part of our modern world, and they actually date your picture to the modern part of the last century and the century we're in now. And you know, if you accept that these are old vapor trails, then that's fine. I'm going to resist putting any of the other angles in, but I think that works. I'm just going to play around with this one, and that's sort of teasing itself off into the background and creating lovely little shapes here, coming on and into this cloud through here like that, and one or two others that are forming and taking away off the edge. Don't want to go too mad. Take that back a little bit. I don't need that. But we can, if we don't like it, we can always go over with some more blue anyway. It's not a big deal. But yeah, let's move on, and let's I got a hold of that small brush, didn't I? I knew it'd happen. Right, let's come in with some more whites, and there we go. Just now I'm using the tip. Now I'm starting to draw and blend a little bit with some of these lovely little edges. I could be a lot fresher with my marks, but my tendency is that I do tend to get bogged down in little bits of detail here and there. And although I classify myself as an impressionist, and I really do, I also am not as loose or fresh or whatever you want to say that term, and you know, I just put little taps in, but my taps, I hope, suggest detail. They're not trying to draw the lines and form the detail exactly. They are merely to suggest shapes and forms that I hope the little tap will do it. In the same way, Wendy and is Judy here tonight? I can't see that she is. Haven't seen anybody. Oh, we're losing people. That's not good. Who's gone? Who escaped? Who's the jailer tonight? And let somebody out. But yeah, I did that in that water on that bird last night for you when I did that one. I think it worked very well from that point of view. So I'm just going to put in a suggested little bit of light here just to break up that grey against the blue. You can almost feel that there's sort of a streaking going on across there where there's a bit of hazy cloud that's coming on down through. It's a bit greyish, so we're not going to use the white too much. Just going to soften the grey a little bit as it comes down into some of these other forms, like so. Move a little bit through there just to take that down just a bit, like that. Okay. Right, so I think that's not bad for that sort of area. We've got that lovely sweep through there. I'm going to put in a suggested bit of light in here as well. It's just a little band of cloud or rain, or I don't know, but it just looks like there's a subtle variation there underneath these clouds, which I just want to put in and suggest. And also that adds weight to these warm values. We've got a lovely lighter cool color coming in underneath them, and that goes up into a slightly darker but warmer color within the cloud itself. And you can reinforce that by coming back in and just adding a little bit of that dark matter that you've left from the previous part and just building up the forms in here and the sort of darker masses in one or two places. I actually am going to come down to the same type of brush but a smaller one, and I have several of those to hand. So I'm going to use a smaller one, which is a 3/8, and I'm going to use the same mixes, just going to carry on with the idea, but I can then be a little bit finer with some of the placement of the brush and where the pigment's going to end up, like so. Maybe a bit more color mixed would help, and that's a little bit too on the blue side, but that's way too much brown. Bit of red in there just to warm it back, bit more blue in there to play around with that, and we come back somewhere where we need it to be, and we can just put some more dense color values in, darker color values in there, like so. Something like that I think works very, very well. Let's just bring some of that up into there, give that a little bit more shape and form, because these on their own, I mean, if you can imagine how tall this thing is, these are still powerfully high, and they're gaining in height. They're a lot further away, but they, you know, it's amazing how these things just develop the closer they come to you. Just going to put in a little bit of dark here and start suggesting one or two other areas of color, lights and darks, into this cloud as it starts to build in stature. And that's why I'm going to keep that about where that is. Put a little bit of dark in there. Like so. Check the thing. No one said anything else unless the I don't think it has. No, that's the end of the feed, so no one's actually saying anything. No one wants to talk. Right, okay, I'm going to start blending some of these values in here too. Just take this up into the white and just suggest that there's a medium value as it dissipates into the structure of the white cloud. And I'm really caressing the white very, very gently. I do not want to overpower the white if I can help it. There's a lot of white paint there and I have to be careful. The angle of the board, James, Phil, you've really got me over that one. You've really got me there because, yeah, no, it was flat before, but we had a lot of trouble with the overhead lights causing a lot of glare. So I've had to angle the board. That's why you got this somewhat wedge shaped thing happening. But at the end, I will try and do my best to lower it down so you get a slightly better angle at the finish. But at the moment, I've really got to sort of paint it in this fashion. Did I see? Yes, Sylvia, good evening to you. Thanks for joining. Glad you could make it. I put a little bit of warm reds in there just to play around with some of these marks and shapes in here. And just to give it another sort of value, almost a brownish tinge, a little dirty tinge, picking up a bit of something or other in the atmosphere. I don't know, I just look for all the subtle changes that I can in a piece just to suggest the different forms. And it's well, you know, you can get into sort of silly art speak, which I don't really want to do, but people start talking things like visual shorthands and all this sort of thing, and I think it's a bit of nonsense. I think it's just an understanding of what you're seeing, and that information, the shorthand is a sense of not shorthand at all. It's a photographic recall and thing that you develop as a painter over many years of painting and observation, and I think that is really what some of that is all about. But I don't mind if anybody disagrees with that. I'm more than happy to debate it with anybody. I really don't care. Right now we've got a lot of time on our hands, so I can do a lot of debating. Right, anyway, before I get too silly with my conversation, let's just keep on track with this, and let's keep on. I've got to put some more lights into that. I know I've lost a few. I want to suggest a little bit of stuff, wispy grey, going over there as well. Just 1 or 2 extra taps of colour and light and form between some of these shapes, just attaching themselves, breaking away, little bits of grey but little bits of blue in between, and then I can just come back in. If I want to emphasize a little bit more lighter, I can make that happen too, like so. And there's something completely missing there. We better get that sorted out and bring that into the whole thing like that. And I'm having so much fun with this, guys. I really am. You know, I can. Well, I've already painted one sky this morning, just for fun, and just sat down here after breakfast and picked. That's the nice thing about having the studio set up for streaming and filming all the time. It's all set out all the time, and I just come in and do a little bit of admin on the computer, which is over there. And if I fancy it, I'll just pick up the brushes and just pick up another board and paint. And it's really quite refreshing. Sometimes you don't have to sort of go to the gallery or go out to my other studio in the garage and sort of thinking about turning heaters on if it's in wintry time or whatever. Yeah, it's just quite refreshing to be able to just come in here, settle down, and decide I'm going to paint something and just get on and paint it. I'm just going to bring this area out and just try and finish this through here. Now it is quite a bit lighter, so I'm going to bring that into play, just bring some lights underneath that bit of cloud there to join forces with that part there. Let them blend as best I can, and maybe 1 or 2 lighter touches in here that are suggesting there's a bit of a shape there. We'll leave that to be as it is, and we can bring some of that light up around there, and leaving this dark here, which looks not quite the same as the one in the picture, but a little bit suggestive of the same thing. Bring some of that light up through here and through here and back down over this side, so we get another facet to this cloud as it builds. All the time I'm looking, I'm checking and just making sure that I'm not missing something, and before I move forward. There you go. That just brings those 2, 3, 4 areas together, just ever so slightly. But they are still little patchwork quilts of shape and form. Oh, I'm sorry, Phil. Yeah, it is a good question. I always paint, if I'm in the studio, in my main studio outside, painting something large or whatever, I will always paint standing up for a kickoff. I never sit down. I only paint at an easel in the upright position. Depending on the angle of the light, sometimes I'll angle the easel toward me, but very often not, it's sort of almost flush and almost just slightly set back a few degrees, not much. And then watercolors, I like to paint on something like a 30 to 45 degree angle, which suits me very nicely. And this is probably as low as I really like taking an oil, if I'm honest with you. All the oil streams and films that I've done with oils up until recently have been done on the flat to aid me with the camera positions, and it's worked, but it has been a bit of a nightmare sometimes to see what I'm painting. And as regulars on this stream will tell you, the times that I've sort of had to bounce around like this just to see what I'm painting and the colors that I'm putting down, because the lights are just taking the whole of it out and it's very, very hard to discern what I'm doing. So anyway, I'm just carving, literally carving into some of this color and just changing what you see and how you perceive it in terms of the shape of the cloud. And I sort of make no bones about that it is not the same as the photo. The photo is merely a point of starting, and from then on I've sort of used it as a rough guide and then moved on and changed what's being seen. Just going to bring some of those little light yellowy bits that we had in there down and into that blue. That works very, very well. I do like that color combination. And then I'm looking at some lights in here, just taking that a little bit lighter in from there and dragging some of that material away, and that's sort of coming across there. There's a little bit of light. You know, sometimes when you get a really dark heavy cloud and you get a little bit of light cloud in front of it that's catching a little bit of the sun from somewhere, just a little highlight being picked up, and that's what I wanted to put just there. I need another glug. Oh, that's a bit more than a glug. That's good though. Right, I'm gonna move on and let's look at this area here for a little while, and coming back with some of that intense white color. The brush is a little dirty, let's just give that extra clean up. And put some of that pure lovely white colour in there. Maybe pick a little bit more up and just bring some of that through there. Now, did I tell everybody that in future all these streams are going to be chargeable? So far, every time I paint an oil painting, I mess up a t-shirt and I've got to pay for it somehow, so I'm going to be charging everybody to watch these in future just to replace my t-shirts that I'm destroying. I'm running out of t-shirts. I joke, but yeah, I am a messy painter, to say the least, and the consequence is that I was going to I actually put my painting smock on, but oh dear, I had it on for about 2.5 minutes. I just ripped it off, and I had nothing underneath it. It was just so hot, I couldn't put up with that. I'm just making this a fairly solid looking cloud here, and a lovely big lump. Look at that. You can just about, I hope you can, I don't know if you can actually. There is a lovely bit of white there, and where that picked up a little bit of blue, you can see there is a change of color value, and I think that works very, very well. Now I'm going to tease some of this around. I'm going to tease a little of the blue into there and bring that down in there, and it does show this way a little bit on the photo, so I'm going to use that at the top of that thunderhead and just bring that down there. And then just one or two, my voice went, sorry, just one or two little taps through here that are suggesting that there's cloud going across the top there, catching the light as it is. Now, believe it or not, this sort of looking, checking and seeing different values can also be applied to painting a wave. Very much the same thing. Maybe I will demonstrate a wave at some point in the next few weeks in oil, and just see how that all fares. If anyone's interested, just let me know and we'll take it from there. Just putting in some connective lights through here just to give that other part a little bit of a soft color tone and change through there, like that. Bring that down into there and make them connect. Now I know, as I say, I keep saying it, I'm not going to keep saying it, but you know it's not going to be exactly the same anyway, so that will be the last time I say it. Probably not. I'm just playing around with those shapes and forms anyway. Ben, the dagger brush leaves odd square edges. Do you need to lose them? Or as clouds don't really have sharp corners? No, but it's part of the expressive nature of the painting in many ways, Ben. So I don't really, you can soften, you can keep the lovely sharper edges. I think it's a painting style that I'm looking for, and not to have an absolute crystal finish. So yeah, you're going to get these sharp angles, but I think that makes the whole painting work as a painting, and from that point of view, so that's why they're there, and that's why I'm really, I mean, I could use a different brush altogether and change the whole thing, that, you know, show you something very, very different in terms of edges, and that's what you're speaking of, is edges, shapes, from that point of view. But no, that's why I use this brush. I just love how it leaves these marks, as it were, these brush marks. So I'm being very, very careful now just to play around with some of these shapes, and you can see the way. And the thing about the dagger pen also is that you can turn it in so many different ways to extract another certain type of mark. And bring that through there. Just feel that would look nicer just done in at that point. Almost connecting that up, but not quite. So yeah, they just make a different mark, I think. Alright, you're going to bring some nice light into there. And just in there too. Alright, now one or two areas out here have been neglected, so let's just put in a little touch of white matter there. And coming in down through there. Tap in there. John, I still haven't done anything about doing a railway related stream on Sanding Junction yet. I keep thinking about it. I don't know, I keep shying away, mate. I might just get onto it, but keep thinking about doing it. Right, so that actually does come down through here. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave that lovely. I quite like the way that that blue is working, so I'm going to literally forget about that and just come down here, just tidy this form up here and let that sort of start touching, coming back towards some of this in here. Like that. But this up here, as I said, this is where the real part and power in this cloud is working. Okay. Like the idea of waves. Yes, waves, I can do waves, not a problem. Big crashing waves. Yeah, we don't get too many big crashing waves down in Kent. You know that. I'll have to have a look at some of my reference from Cornwall and see if I can find a nice candidate for a crashing wave down there, the Lizard or somewhere, and see what I've got in my collection of reference. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for the moment, and I'm just going to come in and start looking at the shore, and we'll see where we go from that. So I'm going to clean a couple of these larger brushes out. When I teach art in school, depending on the age group, I wear doctor's coat. It saves me white shirts and children's wild brush. Yeah, it's true, but in this little tiny office room, John, it is so hot, mate. And if I leave the window open, we've got a little yappy dog next door, and honestly, it would drive you all nuts. And the double glazing that we've got is actually triple glazing, and just about cuts him out, which is handy when I'm actually filming too. It's a nightmare of a dog, but I hope the owner of the dog is not watching this stream. Wouldn't that be awful? I go out there in the morning and say, "What's your stream last night, Paul? That was interesting." Oh dear. Right, now there's a slight darker greenish colour to this water that I've got through onto the horizon. This is where I'm going back onto the shape, and I'm using the upturned dagger, and I'm trying to take it along. It could be a little bit more liquid going into that. And let's just take this all the way along the line that I put in earlier and try and establish as straight as we can. Now there's two things you can do. You can merge your horizon. I did a whole series of paintings where I literally use very random brush marks to alter the variation of line between the horizon and the sea, and it was quite interesting because, as a matter of fact, in actuality that can't actually happen. I was using different colors side by side, and yeah, just seeing where it went. But it's a soft merging. I think that you can have very sharp edges to a horizon line, of course, but at the end of the day, I don't think you always I don't know what happened there, but my camera decided to stop. Bear with me. Trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, bear with me 2 seconds, people. I've got to change the card in the camera. I didn't realise that it had actually just run out of thing, and that's why it went dark. So hopefully this will continue. card is full. Okay. Right, sorry about that. Yes, I did go off for a second. I'm back now. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing something, John. I did go off. What happened was that the card that was doing the recording in the camera filled up, and so it just stopped. I put another card in now, and it will hopefully not stop again. Now there's a little job for you, Ben, tomorrow, my friend. You know, you've got all the details on this camera of mine. Is there a chance of you trying to see if there is a way that you can keep it from shutting off prematurely? I leave it on without having to record. When it goes idle after a little while, it just goes to sleep, and therefore everything goes off. So up until now, the only way I can make that stay open is to actually record the whole event, not only on the stream itself, but also in camera. Although that can be potentially useful, I sort of something like this happening has just happened, of course, and yeah, it would save all that happening again. Now what I'm doing is, you see, I just picked up some of this blue that we used in the sky, and I'm actually using that into some of these shades of the clouds. It's a very good little ploy. You've got this color reappearing all over the place, and therefore it creates a beautiful harmony and a soft transition effect in the cloud itself against some of the warmer or yellower colors of grey. So you get another additional color, but the brain picks up that it is extremely similar to some of the other colors not necessarily associated with the cloud directly. So it's worth using that. You often see me put in a reflection that has no bearing to the sky itself, but I will put some of that sky color back in, and that has a very good effect. You can see a little glow of blue appearing on this one now, and it is exactly for the reasons that I said. Just going to come in here and tap in a little bit of darker color of blue into there, and then I come through. Right, I was doing the sky, I was doing the sea, wasn't I? Right, let's come back into the sea. I was talking about the sea being a dark, hard line against the cloud, against the sky, and it is to a point, but also it's not. It can be soft, and so that's what I've chosen to do with this one, is to not. Generally, you can see that there is a sharp-ish line through there, and but your eye can't actually see directly where it starts and stops. That's what I'm doing, and I'm now using some of this corrupted blue value to come in here and suggest the sea. As the water gets a little bit closer to you, you can see more reflections, more this and that going on in it, and so the green color is influencing the color overall, but it actually changes as it gets a lot closer to you, and you're getting a little bit of yellow light coming through there. So let's just put that in there. Let's just give that a general lighter value through the sea here, which is suggesting the light pouring down out of those white clouds. Now I do see that I have lost a bit of this edge here, so I am just going to go in with the tip of this brush and just give that a bit of a leveling out. Just tease that back into place. It's not a big deal, but it doesn't want to be looking like a range of hills either. Just going to give that a little bit more form through there too. Alright, that's fine. But now you get the idea that you got this lovely cloud and the reflection in the sea at that point. You can then use some of this also to start suggesting your waves, the white water, the waves coming through here. You don't need to do too much to suggest the wave. If you come along with the sharp edge of your dagger brush and then just drop it or tilt it, you get these little divots in the water or in the wave form, and you know, you can start suggesting so much this way. Just bring that all the way through to the shore. I'm not going to put the groins in on this painting. I could do, I don't think it needs it. It could be a lovely piece of sea and tide and sand anywhere, pretty much. There's a little dirty bit there, get out of it. I don't need to put the groins in to identify it as local, although it is, of course. And just one or two sharper little sharper marks out there, not so soft, as that goes out through and away, like so. One or two out there. Okay, we can come in with darks underneath that later. Thank you, Ben. If you don't mind, it would save an awful lot of aggravation, because I have to keep putting the cards in. I thought that was a clear card. Normally I can do a 2-hour stream on a card and have room to spare. Obviously there was something already on that one, so I have to investigate that. But yeah, and it saves a lot of time downloading them and what have you. Right, now I'm going to just put in a light piece of colour through here, for no other reason, just to light whatever else I put on. And I'm going to put the sand on. Now I'm going to use some Indian red and some of that yellow, and it looks quite warm. It is actually. So what I want to do to temper that orange a little bit is to tap a bit of this blue into it, and let's just cool it down. Now, because I've used the blue into the orange, I've actually created a shift in the complementaries, so they're not fighting each other. So that gives me my sand color now, which I can now lay in through here, and that gives me my lovely and perfect color sand, pretty much. I'm not going to worry about too much about it. I'm just scratching it very gently down. I'm going to add a little bit more of the yellow, just to put that yellow streak in at the base, like that. I'm just going to put more red than yellow, but I'm not too worried. As long I just wanted it a little different. I'm going to put a bit more light into there as well. Let's so take that all the way through there. Mixing it up a little bit as I go. A bit more yellow into it again, and then maybe a tap more of the red. Right. I'm going to colour it down a little bit, and I'm going to put a little bit of the this is red oxide. It's just been sitting on the side as the other. I use them sometimes, not a lot. I do use them there. Just going to put a little bit of the red oxide into there, and just take it down a little bit. And I just want to suggest a little bit of wet sand, if I can get away with that. Along the edges. Now there is a flooding of water, I can see that, so I'm going to actually come back out of that, back out, and I'm going to take this colour through here and into there like so. So it looks like we've got the sand and it's wet at that point. Take that out. Lose some of that. Just take that back out, all the way back out there. Okay. And then I want to come in with some, I've got to clean my brush thoroughly because I want to come in with a flood of water. I didn't see it, it's where the sea's coming right up to and over the top of the sand. So I want to put in a lovely area of blue through here. This is not anything like influence. I am influenced by a well-known local painter who does a marvelous landscape job for a cumin. Now I'm merely an admirer and nothing more. Not a devotee. I just love the work the man does, have done for a long time, and I can't ever sort of look at the sky over the channel without thinking of Fred's paintings, because they just are so stunning. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to put that in there, and I want to put a darker mark underneath there that's suggesting that there are the waves coming in here, like so. And then you're going to put a bit of white and light in one or two places, and I want to suggest the darks under some of these waves as well, just putting in a little dark mark here and there. A bit darker, use some of those blues and browns, just suggest a little shadowy section underneath some of these waves. Not all of them, just some of them will be more than sufficient. Okay, I think that works. There's one or two little lights in that blue, so I'm going to suggest where that one there is, there's almost like a little light area in the water that's reflecting that part of the cloud. So I'm going to put that in, make use of that. But then it does also suggest, oh dear, what's going on now? Now then, I don't know if I'm streaming still. So yeah, can you all hear me? Because I've got issues here which I will need to talk to Ben about too, it would seem. I've run out of application memory on my computer. This stream may end prematurely. I can't believe this. Every time I stream, something just doesn't go right. I thought that we'd gone past all these little hiccups and trivial bits and pieces, but it apparently seems that I'm still burdened or destined to have quite a few. So if you can still hear me, can you let me say, is it all fine? It's all fine, loud and clear. Okay, well, I've actually lost my reference, so I'm actually looking a little bit funny around the edges at the moment because I can't see what I'm painting anymore because it's gone off. I had to turn it off because it was freezing everything in the picture. Just putting a little line through there, just putting one or two marks in the sand here just to mix it up a little bit. Little variances in the sand and the color of the sand, like so. There we go. Right, now where are we at? We are on 30 minutes, sorry, 90 minutes in, are we? 90 minutes. Good Lord. All right, so now I am just going to see if it will allow me to open up the reference one little bit of time. It probably won't, but turn off and just stay there. Okay, I've got the reference up. How long it will stay there for, I do not know. But yeah, there we go. Jim, thank you very much, mate, for that. I'm just getting a little bit panicky there. And it's just very annoying when you think you've got it all worked out and then all of a sudden the gremlins appear. and say, no, you haven't, we've got it in for you again. So I'm going to put that little light through there too. That works. Right. It's telling me it's got to shut down the preview, but I'm ignoring it. So as long as you can still see me, I am going to carry on. And I seem to be moving in the picture plane, so I'm guessing the stream is going out still. I'm having a lot of fun with this, despite the little gremlins having a go at me. I'm going to come in with a bit more yellow into some of that, and just see very quickly if I need to pep up some of the lights along here. Maybe just one or two big statements of white, just to finish that section of the cloud off. Just really bright, punchy little marks. In there, and I think just a little bit in there will go well. Just changing one or two, and I'm sort of looking around now. I think that there's a little bit more light can come in through some of these areas down here. I'm just going to tap into them with my finger as they go away. And I'm just really looking at all the different forms that I've got and seeing where I need to improve, change something, join something up, soften something. And that's what the whole thing is. I mean, this is a whole series of mistakes when it starts, and only when I've actually finished the last one and got rid of that as a mistake, then the painting can be considered complete. Not sure if I actually like that. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to come down there with the whole mark there, and I'm going to come in with some other values just to take that away from the pure white there. Use some of the blue of the sky in here. Right, so and bring that into there. I want to match some of that sky. I don't really like that little bit of colour. So I'm going to play around for a few minutes just to see if I can't bring that colour to heel back in the sky there. So I'm going to come back in. Just changing what we see here. I didn't quite like that, to be honest with you, so I'm going to lose most of that, and then I'm going to come in and lose quite a bit of that. Okay, now what you saw happen there is that I picked up quite a bit of the white, and that's good, because what you can do, and you can just tease out the reverse on some of this, or you can brush past and soften some of the white marks. I don't want to do it on the top here, because that's really the brilliance of what you're seeing. But you want to come in, if you want to, you're going to match the color up very well, and I'm not doing that. So let's just see if we can't come in with a color that's a little closer to the one that we started it up in here. Let's just come back in now and just really hone in on some of these softer little white edges. It's almost like creating a little afterglow, teasing some of that white out and getting that lovely little glow on the edge of the white. You see that appearing. Like so, you don't want to go too far out with it, and you do need to keep a good clean brush of paint ready to come back in like that, but you get that little softness appearing. And do the same in here. Just take that out a little bit, come back in and just tease back in with the blue and soften what you see. It's a bit like creating a little afterglow. Like that. And if you want to do it all the way around, you can. I don't think there's a need to. I'm going to come in and do a little bit in here. just in one or two places, just to soften. I like this hard edge, but again, you can go along with the edge of the brush and you can tease out some of this so that you have hard, hard and soft. You have very different edges. Leave that as hard, let that blend out like so, and soften off into the atmosphere, so to speak, like that. Very, very gentle taps of the brush, nothing serious. And you get a very, very different feel to your cloud. Yeah, don't we all love those happy accidents? Yeah, you can always check out the stream. Is it still okay by looking at your iPad? Okay, well that's a bit of a worry then, because my iPad is frozen. Why is that? I think I put my iPad on hold. I don't know what's going on here, Ben. I really don't. I'm gonna shut that and stop that. Okay. Well, according to my iPad, I am at the beginning of the stream, so I don't even know how many people we've got watching at the moment, Ben. So could you enlighten me? Because I think my iPad's also taken on a little bit of militant action against me, and it's not doing what it should be doing. I'm just doing a few blends here and there, and eating into some of these shapes and softening some of the edges to other edges. And this is the sort of final stages of the painting in many ways. This is where you're dotting I's and crossing T's, and yeah, and it's when you decide whether you're finished or you still got a fair distance to go. I'm just going to bring, now you get darker cloud in front of lighter cloud, so let's just use this dark here. Let's pick up some of this value here, and let's just, where we did this sort of thing going off of this one, let's just do the same thing but in reverse. Let's just use some of these darker values to suggest that there is cloud that's creeping across onto other little bits and pieces, right, something like that. Okay. Yeah, I will leave it all alone at the minute. I'm not gonna. It's all a little bit beyond me, I'm afraid. I paint pictures. I'm no techie, as most of you who know me will attest to. I don't do technical stuff, and that includes my trains. Yeah, so I leave the technical stuff to those who do know, and that's certainly not me. Right, don't forget to sign. No, I won't forget to sign. We're not quite there yet, but I won't forget to sign. Right, and I am literally just looking at all these shapes one more time and just seeing what I want to tease out and play with, and just allow other things to go on before we bring this to an end. I'm going to put a little bit more of a dirty violet color blue in there. Just want to bring in a bit more dark into one of these areas here, down under here, like so. And there's a little bit of a darker volume under here, which I'm going to just bring that on as a line of cloud, but then that's just sweeping up as it comes down through here. And that's, I mean, these actually are part of it, and then they just start going up in like so, coming towards the viewer or to the foreground. I think that sort of captures those quite well. There's one or two areas just suggesting that they are sort of breaking up a little bit. Okay. There is a heavier base here which I completely missed. So I get that back in through there. That works. And that then makes some space in a way for this bit to work as well. Just bringing that across there. Just that it's not quite like that in the program, but we're going to go with it. I think my stream flicked again, and it is going on and off. So I am having a few technical issues now, it would seem. Stream's gone off and on. Right, okay. I keep losing the stream. So I'm going to cut the reference out altogether, and hopefully the stream will come back, please. Oh. The cameras are running. The stream's gone off. Bear with me. Can you hear me? I think you can still hear me. I can't figure out why we've got no visuals now. I truly don't know what's gone on. I think basically the RAM on my camera or on my computer has just run out of memory, and I don't know how to get this back on into shape. Oh dear Lord. Good, I'm glad you can hear me. I just don't know how to get the picture on. I've lost both captures. My visual face one has gone down, and everything has just gone down visually. I've shut every other program on that I can think of that is going. If I shut any others down, we lose the stream completely. Yeah, I know you can see that, and that is all you can see. I truly do not know what to do, guys. I got a horrible sneaky feeling that that is going to be the end of the stream if I can't get this to come up again. It might have to be. Something's gone horribly wrong, John. I'm pressing everything I know how to press. I'm going to press the wrong thing in a minute, and it's going to be a wreck. I can only apologize to each and every one of you for what's gone on. And it just says, I'm going to try one more thing here and see if I can't clear out some stuff very, very quickly if you want to bear with me. I don't know if it will make a lot of difference. I'm just going to try and clear some stuff off as fast as I can. I don't know if anyone can still hear me. This is an absolute nightmare. It won't even see my camera. I don't know if I can hear any of you are hearing me anymore. I give up. I'm gonna restart open. Can you hear me? If so, I'm glad. I've been quiet. I've just been punching around trying to get this. Good. I'm so sorry. I've lost the face cam of me, I'm afraid. I don't think I can get that one back. I will just have a quick look at that and see if I can get the face cam back on very quickly. And the built-in microphone is not, I don't want that. Cancel that. My face may come back into play in a minute. I don't think it will. I don't think there's enough memory going on. Okay, I'm so sorry guys. Yet another absolute screw up to add to the whole of these library of screw ups. But yeah, I was pretty much at the end anyway, I've got to say. But oh dear. I got no reference, so I'm actually painting blindly on this now as well. I'm just sort of going on my instincts, as it were. But we are pretty much finished, and I will just bring this to a very swift conclusion, I think. Apologise to you a lot. Bear with me. I am so sorry, guys, because I hate this. It's not good. I'm going to have to take a lot of stuff off my Mac. I think I thought it was able to cope, but obviously it can't. So I've got to do some real lot of sorting out. I'm just going to sign it. So okay. Well, I can't see me in the picture at all because it's gone, and I can't do too much more. What's with the echo? What? Oh no! I think I'm gonna have to begin. I think I know what that is. Okay, bear with me. Okay, I don't know if I'm back. If you can see me. Or what? I don't know. Can someone just tell me whether they can hear me, whether the stream is back up? Tell me about it, Ben. Yeah, I'm glad. I think we've pretty much lost everybody on the stream. I don't know how many are watching still, if anybody at all, apart from you guys. It's a... Well, I won't swear on camera, of course, but... yeah, you're right, Jim. I've got to go into this. I didn't know how much was there. You can't see me, no, because I don't think I can get me back into the stream picture. I don't think that there's enough going on that I can get that. You're just going to have to just see. Yeah, well, anyway, I suppose we shall end the stream, and not on the positive note that I'd hoped. The picture is okay. The picture's fine. I'm sorry you can't see me. I don't know if I can change that. Yeah, there you go. I'm back. Alright, so you can see me. I'm sorry you can't. I don't know if I can make the picture see the picture. There you go, there's the picture. All right, well, we're back where we were. It was just an absolute nightmare. I've been pushing buttons and restarting, rebooting the computer. It just absolutely froze. But yeah, I'm so sorry, guys, because we never seem to get through one of these things without a flipping issue somewhere along the line. But hopefully by the time the next one comes, if you haven't all found something much better to do, we might get it right. Yeah, I'm back. I'm just a little bit very annoyed with what's happened. So anyway, thanks for sticking with me, those of you who are still there. I do apologize again and again and again for what's gone on. I'm guessing that my good friend Ben and I will have a few words to talk to each other tomorrow, I'm sure, if he's up for it. Depends how busy you are, Ben. I'm not around in the morning, but certainly afterwards I will. Yeah, cheers, James. Appreciate that, mate. I'm going to go and have a bloody stiff whiskey, I think, after all that. Yeah, it's just very frustrating. I don't know why it just keeps happening. Something, and you iron one problem out to walk straight headlong into the next one. It's just annoying, and it can't be a lot of fun for you guys. What surprised me, though, and I didn't think this would happen, is that I actually didn't stop the stream. I didn't stop anything. It just all froze, so I had to force the whole computer to shut down. So I shut it down and rebooted it, and everything come back. But then I turned on the OBS and one thing and another again, and the stream just kicked back in. It's like it didn't lose its link, which I found that quite amazing, actually. I did not expect to have any of you still there over it, but yeah. Anyway, okay. Guys, thank you so much for bearing with us, and let's hope for a better stream on Friday. It'll be a watercolor. I have no idea what. It could be a photograph of me smashing up computers in watercolor. That could be interesting, because I have got those of you who do follow what I do will know that I had a hard drive went belly up on me just before Christmas, or just after Christmas. I bought a brand spanking new one, and it went wrong, and I finally got the company concerned to agree to take it away and send it to a specialist who they employ to see if they could retrieve it. Well, the sad thing is they couldn't. But then they were telling me that they couldn't have me send me another one until I sent that one back to them. And I said, well, I don't really want to let you have this. There's a lot of material on it. I don't really want it going around. So in the end, we agreed that they'd send me out a form, and they have to have a hand signature on this form, and they have to have physical evidence, photographically or film, of me smashing up the hard drive. I'm going to literally smash the darn thing out with a big hammer tomorrow. So there you go. Should be a bit of fun. Anyway, I digress. Guys, thanks ever so much. Yes, PC pick destruction would make a great pick. Yeah. It wouldn't be the first one that's happened to, I tell you, John. I have put one through a window before. Well, not actually through a window, through an open door. Anyway, okay, right. I will say good night to each and every one of you, and thank you so much for sticking around to see the outcome. The painting is okay, it's fine. I enjoyed it. I think it works as a cloud. Hopefully you've got something from it anyway to move on with your own cloud painting. Yeah, we'll just go from there. Yeah, see you Friday, Derek. Judy, thanks ever so much. John, James, Jim, Ben, all of you, thank you so ever so much. I think we lost Philip from Spain in the course of that somewhere. And I think Sylvie disappeared somewhere along the line. But yeah, I'll see you all on Friday, and I'm going to end the stream now, and I'm going to go get myself a stiff drink. Cheers, guys. Catch you all soon. Happy painting. Stay safe and have fun. Take care. Bye-bye.